Part two of the National Football Show. We appreciate each and every single one of you rolling over with us. We thank you. Had some technical difficulties on the first part one of the program when it came to the audio, and we appreciate you guys coming back over here again. Hopefully, we're able to resolve some of these issues here. StreamYard's having a little bit of issues. And we've had some audio issues here a little bit. So it's not internet related. It's the host side. How we doing, EQ? Okay. How we doing here? Fantastic. It's working. So we started the show up again. By the way, you guys were killing it on the likes. We had 111 likes when we had the show go down. But because of our persistence with you, we have been able to kind of hopefully eradicate the problem. Good. Much better, says Prince. Thank you very much, guys. So please hit the like button. That's it, Twiz. You guys are so cool to us, man. I can't thank you guys enough for all you guys and what you guys have done here. And thank you again. And you know why you don't want to miss out this week? Because this is the start of training camp, bro. This is when you start getting everything back in order again. And all the NFL fans are getting ready. Whether you're Eagle fans, you're Buffalo Bill fans, you're 49er fans. Okay? All good, man. Big Sills the sequel. There you go, Matt. Sounds crisp, delusional. You're back. Hey, Sills, you sound delusional. So that means it's good. We're ready to roll. All right. Well. We have to get our favorite or one of our favorite green glasses wearer in here because Johnny McMullen, man, in the morning has polluted somebody. He has infected somebody with Bryce Huff. He's absolutely infected him to think that Bryce Huff is going to be an impact player. And I have to bring the co-host of Birds 365. He's in the back getting ready like he's Conor McGregor. Coming out swinging is our man, Xander Krause. How you doing, brother? Way to fix it, man. Way to go, brother.
I can't take any credit for this. I don't know what the hell is going on with StreamYard. It's not us. It's not everyone's like, fix your internet. My internet's perfect. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we're back up. Hopefully everybody checks back in with us because your first hour was tremendous.
Thank you. Hey, man, you know what's funny? I opened the program out, and I thought it was on a positive note because, dude, for the first time, they hired a coach in the same breath as a Jeff Stoutland kind of guy. And the more and more I hear Vic Fangio talking, the more and more I'm liking this guy. I mean, hey, by the way, I got to hand this to you, Xander. Here is your trophy for the first 2 days of practice over there at the NovaCare Center. It's called the Barty Trophy, not the Lombardi Trophy. It's called the Barty Trophy for all the great things that you guys are doing in practice in pajamas and shorts and what have you. Congratulations to you. The greatest quarterback in the history of Eagle quarterbacking, the greatest coach of all time, the greatest team of all time. It goes to the Philadelphia Eagle fans. Congratulations. Oh, maybe I should give you this one because this is more here. Here you go. Congratulations to you. You now get the first 2 days of camp award. Very good. Congratulations.
I'll take it, baby. Camp champions. That's the best thing you can be on July 25th. They ain't handing out Super Bowls today. They ain't handing out regular season wins today, Big Sills. We can win the day, and we have won the last 2 days. While we look around and the Dallas Cowboys are collapsing, we don't know if CeeDee Lamb's going to show up this year. The San Francisco 49ers don't have their star left tackle showing up. They might lose their wide receiver. It's all bliss in Eagle Land, baby. You're crying about a press conference. It's bliss in Eagle Land, Big Sills.
15-17. No touchdowns, no picks. And according to ESP, The only word that I can use is surgical.
Surgical, baby.
Yeah, because that's what Jalen is. He's a surgical quarterback. All right. Dude, I got to get to this. Johnny McMullen has been the biggest fan of Bryce Huff. And here's the words of Vic Fangio on your boy, the man who's replacing Hassan Rock. Here. Vic was asked the question about Bryce Huff. Well, he's never, ever been put in rush downs. It's not what he is. However, we think he has the talent. However, it's a work in progress. And then the last one is the ultimate kick in the nuts. If you're asking me right now if he can play to run, obviously it's no. Wait a minute. So you signed a guy who's not a 3-down lineman. He can't play first and second down. And the coordinator's telling you he's a situational pass rusher. Is that what you're telling me? How's that an upgrade?
No, that's not what he said. Because, and to be honest,
here we go another day. You don't hear the same thing I hear.
No, I heard what you heard, but he didn't say that physically Bryce Huff is not talented or physical enough to play that position. Correct. He said in the past, Bryce Huff has never been that. He has never been asked to be that.
Correct.
So his take, I more read it as it's going to be an acclimation period. This is new for Bryce Huff in the NFL. He's never done it. He didn't say he can't do it. And if I'm Bryce Huff,
he says he thinks he has the talent. But wait a minute. So you're giving him the benefit of the fact that after 5 years in the league, he's going to turn into a first and second down player.
He was an undrafted free agent.
Hold on. I don't give a shit when he's 6 years in now. Okay? He's an NFL player.
He's not 6 years in. You just added 2 years. He's 4 years in, jerk off.
Okay, wait a minute here. Are you trying to tell me, well, they think he can. They think he can. And he's saying right now, well, if you're asking me right now, he can't play to run. I heard the soundbite. I heard him say that.
I heard him say it too. I just had a complete different interpretation. And to be honest with you,
how did you take that when he said he can't play to run?
Just like I explained to our viewers yesterday why I think your negative approach to the team compared to what other people say, there's positives to it. There's reasons that it's beneficial. You know what he just did? Bryce Huff, he lit a fire under his ass. Or he didn't, and Bryce Huff is the wrong guy. But if Bryce Huff is worth a shit and is going to be a good player on this team, this is the best thing he could have said to him. Hey, young man, I haven't seen it from you yet. And if I'm Bryce Huff, I'm taking that. I'm using that as fuel. He didn't tell him you're not good enough. He didn't say you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough. He said you've never done it. And if I'm Bryce Huff, I'm going to go out there and prove to my coach I can do it. I don't agree. I don't think this is where you're 100% right is. It's a changing of the guard. You've never seen a coach in the Howie Roseman era recently talk about players like this. I think it's a beautiful thing, but I love honesty. I'm a radically honest person, sometimes to a fault. I piss people off in my family. I'm too honest. I'm too mean. I love it. It's a good thing. If Bryce Huff is a good player, if Bryce Huff has a good head on his shoulders, if Bryce Huff is a real professional, I'm listening to that, and I'm going to be a far better run stopper this year than I would have been if I had a coach who sit there and said, oh, I think Bryce Huff is pretty great. I'm really happy how we signed him. No, that's not what he gave him. And I think it sets Bryce Huff up to be a better player this year because of it. That doesn't mean he's going to be, but there's certainly the chance that happens.
Okay. All of that, when you rub a magic genie lamp, sounds great. Okay? He's telling you who the player is. He's telling you who the player is right now.
Yeah, he hasn't pass rushed. He hasn't been a run stopper in the past. He's been a pass rusher. He also came from one of the best defensive lines in the league in New York.
As a situational pass rusher, not a three.
So
he says he's not a 3-down lineman.
So would you rather Vic Fangio lie and say, oh, he He is a 3-down lineman, but wait a second. He's never done it in his NFL career. No, he just told you the truth. You're right. He called out the truth. He said what you've been saying for months. That's not a problem. Bryce Huff,
$18 million bucks. I think that is a problem.
Oh, I don't at all. That's part of being a general manager in the NFL.
So you would give Brian Burns $25 million because Brian Burns can't stop the run and pass. You gave that guy 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You gave him $5.5 more million. That guy's a complete football player in New York.
And you gave him $2.5 million. Bryce Huff's making $17 million. Hassan Reddick was making $15
18
million. And by the way, Hassan Reddick stunk out loud against the run. So the point is, Bryce Huff's going to be out there. They're not going to take him off the field. So even if he sucks at it, congratulations. It's the same thing we had last year. You're viewing it in the wrong light.
No, I'm telling you who the player is right now, according to the defensive coordinator's own voice. And he's telling that kid right now, this is who you are, kid.
Dan Sileo wants a line that has 5 340-pound dudes that sit there and plug up every hole.
No, but if you're gonna move off of Reddick, at least move someone off of Reddick that's better.
I think that's part of being a GM, though. You have to make projections. And Howie said, I'm going to take a younger guy that isn't at his full potential. No, that's not true. Because when we signed Hassan Reddick, it was the same thing.
When you sign a guy like Huff, you're going on projection instead of what the kids. When you draft a kid, you're hoping that guy is going to be a good cover corner. You're hoping the guy's going to be a press corner, a zone cover corner, what have you. You're drafting a particular thing that you're looking for. When you hear someone can't stop the run, that's a problem for me, Xander, especially when you make him your number one priority on free agency.
It will be a problem for me if we get to the year and he sucks. Vic Fangio saying what we all know to be true, whether we believe it or say it to ourselves or not, is not a problem to me. That doesn't change what Bryce Huff is going to be. It changes what the public sentiment on the player is right now, sure. But like I said, I don't believe that's a bad thing. If Bryce Huff is worth a shit, I think he's going to take it and be like, great, coach, help me be amazing at this. I know this is my first year doing this. I'm aware. Help me be great. And I think he can be great.
Just love the honesty from Fangio, man.
I do too. I'm perfectly okay with that part of it.
I'm dividing the line. At least Huff showed up. Reddick is not. Okay. We need at least 12 sacks from Huff or it looks bad. Hey, I'll tell you what, E-Kun, how about this one? If Bryce Huff gives me 10 sacks and he shows that he can play first and second down, it's a grand slam. But if he shows he's getting murdered on setting the edge, you got a massive problem with that. And it was a downgrade. So that's something to keep an eye on because the D coordinator's own words are telling you that. And to Xander's point, what I loved about it, by the way, this isn't negative because to me, the more important part of this is Vic. Because Vic's telling people right now who the fuck you are. Here's the next one. Someone asked him about the Bradberry thing. He goes like this. Yeah, he's getting some reps at safety. However, that transition never really works. I've only seen it work like 4 times to any kind of success. So to make that, look, he's got athleticism. He's willing to do it. But Vic Fangio's flat out telling you, hey, the chances of that guy playing safety are none. Okay? And what I really is amazing about it, and Xander, I think you brought this up between the headbutting between him and Howie. You undermined Howie moving him potentially and lowering his market value because you were putting him in the safety position. And maybe there was some fish out there that would have said, hey, the Eagles are putting him back there at safety. Maybe the guy can play and be a dual guy for us and give us some depth, and maybe I'll pick him up. Here's what you got Vic saying. He can't play safety. Hey, I fucking love that, though, man. He's telling everyone.
I do, too.
Hey, this is who you are.
Look, I have no problem with it. It's part of where being radically honest can get you into trouble. Maybe Howie's going to have a sit down with him later. Hey, asshole, I'm trying to trade this guy for a 5th-round pick, and you just diminished him back to a 7th. So, no, listen, he's right, though. James Bradberry's been a zone corner his whole life. He's not just all of a sudden going to be this great safety. And, Vic took the balloon. He took a pen like this, and he went pop.
He kicked Howie in the nuts.
And he popped that balloon quick. You're right about that. Like I said, I have no problem with it. He's the coach.
I love it. The more I'm hearing this guy, Vic Fangio. Dude, I'm telling you, you got a coach in that building. This is the best position coach you've hired. Maybe since Jim Schwartz and Jeff Stoutland. This guy here is telling you the way it is, and he's not telling you anything. There's going to be no bullshit, and the best players are going to play. This guy's going to have a lot of Monday meetings with Howie Roseman and the analytics guys. Why ain't you playing Jacoby? Because he blows. He's not going to do this, man.
I know.
I love it. Dude, I'm more encouraged about your – here, this is what people are going. Sills, you're all over. No, I'm more encouraged about your defense now because the guy running it is going to play the best people.
Well, that's my point about Huff. I see what you're saying. You're right. They paid this guy like he's a better player than they just revealed that he is. But I feel good about it because I think now we have our defense and a guy that's going to coach these mother effers up. And that's a good thing.
I love this here. No, not this one here. Hold on here. Where is that? Mike. Imagine Howie and Fangio doing a presser. Howie's like, hey, me and my analytics guys, we picked this guy and we really liked him. Yeah, well, guess what? I put him on the field. He couldn't understand how to line up in a 3 technique. He would never play.
Yeah. Look, I got no problem. I thought Vic was awesome this morning. I really did. I thought he was dope.
Awesome. He was beyond. Here's the other one. They asked him the question about the two guys, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and he goes like this. Yeah, I saw him the other day. They're running around. They look good, a little bit more flexibility in Jordan Davis's hip. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see when we get the pads on where we are.
He said it was encouraging. It was encouraging.
Encourage. Oh, okay. Okay. Did I forget?
Well, if you're gonna pull his comments about and praise him for how honest he is on the other stuff, then take him for his word on what he says. That's good. If he's encouraged by what he saw from Jordan Davis compared to what he expected, that's a good sign.
He's encouraged. All right.
Okay, so cherry pick.
No. He's encouraged. I'm encouraged.
This thing that he was truthful about is awesome for my show, but this thing he was truthful about doesn't matter. No, you can't do that. I'm not going to let you do that, Big Sills. You can't do that. He was radically honest about the other guys, and he was about Jordan and Jalen too, and that's a good sign that he thinks he saw more out of them than what he expected to see. That's good. I'm happy with that.
Do you think there's a healthier vibe going into this camp? There's a pretty good, healthy vibe going into the camp?
No doubt. I think even better than last year because, the one thing with last year, which was interesting, and I get why it was like this, but it was kind of like this whole thing of like, we have to get back to the Super Bowl. And not that that's a bad thing, but I think in a way it crippled them where it was, and that's why you're at 10-1 and nobody has a smile on their face or nobody enjoyed a win or nobody, did anything. And Hurts has the background of the confetti falling over his head. I think there was this predetermined destination and it almost killed you every day when you realized you weren't there. And right now, it seems like we know that we're in control of our destiny. And as long as we do the things each day we need to do, we can get there. And we're also in control of if we don't get there because we didn't do the things we needed to do. And I just feel like I said this on the show, either this morning or last night. I don't even remember. It's all flowing together how many shows we've done. But, I think everybody has a better sounding demeanor right now. Even Nick. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I can't
I'm with you,
Nick, but I thought even Nick sounded more comfortable. And I'm like, look, this is good. You have to get back to that. Sometimes you got to just play ball.
You think right? They've put 23 behind them now? They've put 23 behind them, and yesterday was the beginning of that because it sure
seems like it. Seems like it. Yeah. I would say, yeah.
You know what I'm getting word of? That Jalen Hurts looks healthier.
I read that too, and I actually talked to John a little bit earlier today, and we had a good conversation about what he saw at practice before I did my midday show, and he just said definitely looks quicker, looks definitely looks healthier, definitely has that pep in his step again, and also he also said he's not looking to run right now, not in a bad way.
No,
But
there's a ton of checkdowns. I love it.
and he's dissecting quick. So he's looking, 1, 2, 3, and out for where he wants to go. And if it's not there, boom, done, and dump it off.
Yep.
And I think that's great. Hurts, I mean, that's one thing he needs to add to his game. And if he does that, I mean, it's going to make him a much better quarterback. I mean, look, we talk about Tom Brady all the time on this show.
Seven Super Bowls off.
Nobody was better at the check down than he was.
Right.
Now, he made the plays he needed to make when it wasn't a check down, and that's what Hurts will have to do as well. But having the check down is a good thing, and I hope Jalen can incorporate that and, make it a part of his game because I think it will help him. I really do.
He'll get the $4,000. He'll get the $4,000 and be more productive at that.
Yeah,
if
like
you're
I said,
using those checkdowns.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really care about the number, to be honest with you.
No, but I'm saying that his numbers are going to look more in line with everyone else's.
Yeah.
Because he's going to implement that check down play.
Yeah, you're right. He probably cost himself 500-600 yards a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in checkdowns. You're right. I mean, but like I said, I really don't care too much about the number. I get it. He needs to reach a certain extent to be a qualified quarterback. But look, I want him to be good when he needs to be good. I want him to be great when he needs to be great. And I want him to take what the defense gives him when he needs to take what the defense is going to give him. If he does those things and doesn't turn the ball over, I mean, in a way, Sills, as much as we all want Jalen to be an MVP, we don't even really need him to be an MVP, if that makes sense. Like, we have enough players on this squad. We have enough players on this team that if Hurts is great, if Hurts is good, if Hurts doesn't make big mistakes like turnovers, I mean, the sky's the limit. I think the offense is going to be humming. I mean, it's going to be working on all cylinders if as long as you don't have those costly mistakes.
Xander, what was the number that you said that you thought that as total yardage for Barkley? Where are you around for him this year, you think?
You got him right around 1,250 in rushing, and I had him around 350 in passing. I don't think he's going to get a lot of passing, but it might be way different with Kellen. I'm willing to believe that, maybe I'm wrong on that, and Kellen does use Saquon out of the backfield, but maybe part of that is John has gotten to me when we've talked about this over and over again, and he's just like, they shouldn't even use Saquon in the passing game. It doesn't matter. He's a dump off guy, not a guy that you scheme into the passing game. You have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith for that, and Dallas Goedert, which I understand. So look, I think where Saquon's going to help us is that, I believe it was who was it? I think it was Dave Wanstead, and he was tremendous. And he said, anybody that's a coach or that's played this game knows that when you game plan for a team, the first thing you do is you identify players that can break your back, basically. And when you approach the Eagles last year or the year before that, you knew DeAndre was there, you knew Miles Sanders were there, but you didn't game plan for him. You didn't have to game plan for him. You just kind of said, okay, we got to manage the run. Now you have a player there now that defenses are going to be like, we have to pick and choose who we're going to take away because they have AJ here, Devontae, Dallas, Jalen Hurts, and Saquon. He adds that element, and I think that alone is going to make it much harder to guard our offense. And if Kellen Moore can get Jalen Hurts in rhythm, like we're all hoping, where he's cool, confident, and he's comfortable in the offense, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a tough offense to stop, dude. That's a lot of players. Like, you can have the greatest defense in sliced bread. Are you going to have 4 guys to stop AJ, Devontae, Goddard, and Saquon? It's a tough.
Do you have the point guard though?
Yeah, that's the question. Well, I think we do. I mean, I think Jalen has showed he can be that. That's why I said you got to get rid of the turnovers. You can't fumble the ball. You can't throw interceptions over the. You got to use the middle of the field. Use your assets. If he uses his weapons properly, doesn't turn the ball over, I mean, the offense is going to be tremendous.
This is why I asked you that, because from what I'm understanding, they're doing a lot of read options with Barkley. They're doing checkdowns with Barkley. They're doing a lot of things that they're trying to implement him into the passing game and into the run game. It really looks like they're making him a focal point of what they want to do when it comes to attacking teams. So
no doubt.
I think that's a good thing. And their prime objective right now at the beginning of training camp and even in the OTAs, Xander, has been trying to figure out a role for the kid. And I think that's a wonderful Kellen Moore move right there. To me, here's the only thing that I didn't like when I heard from Devontae Smith on an interview in Philadelphia, that it bugged me. And you tell me if it concerns you. Devontae Smith said this: I'm watching a ton of Dallas Cowboy tape, and I'm watching a ton of CeeDee Lamb tape. Okay. Now, are you watching just for the route trees? Are you watching for the plays that are being called? Is Kellen Moore bringing the Cowboy offense over to Jalen Hurts? Is he modifying it? I happen to think you're modifying it because no read options were in that Cowboy. And I watched some read option tape with those guys out there. How much of that balance is he going to do? Because out of Devontae's mouth, he said, listen, I'm watching a ton of CeeDee Lamb because we're doing a lot of what they did in Dallas.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, maybe there's some negative connotation to that, but CeeDee Lamb was one. He was highly
I'm not asking it a negative. I'm
highly
asking
effective, but I think it's more comes down to Devontae learning how it might not be the exact same routes, but it's probably a similar concept to where Kellen does things on offense to create openings on the defense, right? Maybe it's, certain motion on one side. Maybe it's a dummy route from Saquon Barkley, whatever it might be. There might be little things there where Devontae said, okay, in this setup, in this scheme, I'm going to get open here and I'm going to have an opportunity to get the ball here. And I think that's probably what he's taken from it. I think it's probably deeper than just saying, oh, what route did CeeDee Lamb run? Like, I think Devontae's not worried about running routes. He knows how to run a route. He wants to know how to get open and get the football. And I think that's probably what he's watching the most. And Kellen has a way to do that. He's, that's part of what makes his offense effective is that he gets the defense out of position and you get wide open throws. That's why CeeDee Lamb, he's in the slot. The guy gets 2,000 yards. It's like someone pick up the guy in the slot. It's not that hard.
135 catches from the slot last year.
And that's where that's where I think, Devontae's looking for some of that. He's looking for some of those, make some moves, get me open and I'll make the catch. So, you're right. It's a little weird, but I don't have a problem with it.
How about could it be also this? Watching a lot of CD because we're going to be playing a lot more in the slot, me and AJ, that they're going to be moving us around a little bit too. So, I mean, dude, I didn't mean it as a negative. I was like,
I see what you're saying.
Could it be a route tree thing? Because I saw some read option stuff. I did see that. And so like, I'm not saying that to bring, but he said, yeah, I'm watching a lot of Cowboy tape. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of what he cut his teeth was being over there with the Dallas Cowboys. But at the end of the day, maybe they're going to drop these two guys in. Remember the comment? I don't know, either Devontae said it or AJ said it. They said, we don't have the handcuffs on anymore. Maybe that was part of that, where they're going to move them around the field a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope they do because it adds elements to the offense that make it harder to guard you. Doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't guarantee you execute properly. It moves the odds in your favor. And when I had this debate with John last night on Bird 365, and I'm thinking to myself, not often do I listen to, most of the time, even when I disagree with John, I can understand his logic. And he's debating me on motion, and I'm listening to him, and I'm like, John, what? He's saying motion doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is execution. And I'm like, well, no shit. Motion improves your chances at proper execution. That's the point. I'm not saying that you're just because you run motion, you're going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it was just weird,
Xander, why do you think they run motion? You know why? They're moving to free safety.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Just because you move the free safety, though, doesn't mean you're going to have a successful play. But Correct. It moves the odds more in your favor.
Yes.
And that's what you have to do. That's
it's mismatches.
Exactly. And that's all I was trying to say. And I don't know why.
When John says it's about execution, he's looking at the end result. Well, at the beginning of the play, like you said, there was a reason that every single time you saw, get this, here's the greatest example of that. Remember that Buffalo game last year? Every single time that Josh Allen ran motion, what happened? The receiver was running across the field. And what were those two idiots back there in the secondary under Patricia's defense doing? They would do this, Xander. They'd go to the middle of the field, and then they would head back the other way, and they knew exactly where to throw the ball because those guys were playing zone. It told the quarterback they were playing zone.
Yeah.
Okay?
100%.
I mean, so it's a pre-snap read that helps the quarterback move over to safety.
Exactly.
So
it helps
he's
Jalen
not
Hurts.
wrong technically, but it's a pre-snap thing to your point. Dude, motion does matter. That's like telling me being in a shotgun doesn't help the defense. It does. That means I'm pinning my ears.
Yeah. No, you're
I
right.
mean, how do you know it's a pass play? I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right. And they could do some of those things. Like there's no reason to put Jalen Hurts in a situation where there's no indications of what the defense might be good. It's making it harder for him. Why? He's 25. He's still learning NFL defenses. Make it easier for him. If putting a guy in motion, like you just said, points out what the defense is in, good. It's an advantage. That's it. That's all it is. I'm not saying it's going to cure all. Just saying.
You're right, Dexter. You're right. It was the side that did that, but it showed you what they were doing back there, that they exposed the Eagles' zone defense last year in that Buffalo game. That's why the guy had 500 yards of total offense. Here's something else that's come out of practice here that I'm really liking. And by the way, I'm going to make to the point that you make with Devon White here. Dude, I don't know if this guy is going to save his career. I have no idea. But I'll tell you what I do dig. So Devon White decided to find two of the most successful players that were on the Philadelphia Eagles and get in a group chat with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And it's called accountability. One of the words that lacked on Devon White in Tampa that Todd Bowles used about Devon White was his lack of accountability. Here's a guy that might be identifying some of his issues and problems, and he wants to get around two people that have accountability for themselves, like Hurts. And look, all the shit I give AJ, I told you this. This guy has this much production up here and gives me this much shit. This guy could be the biggest dick on my
doesn't even
team
give you any shit.
Okay, well,
He's
a baby. He's moaning and whining and crying. Okay?
I've never heard AJ Brown moan or whine or cry one day.
I want to be a Patriot. I really wish to God that I could have been a Patriot. I hearkened for the days of being a Tom Brady guy. Did he post all those pictures of the Patriots?
He's the only guy on that team last year that took a lick of accountability in season. The only one. Only player. Not Jalen, not Devontae, nobody. It was
I thought
AJ
Devontae
Brown.
outplayed him down the stretch.
Nah.
I had one 100-yard game in the last 9 games of the season. One. Where was he?
Okay, great. Where was the entire Eagles team?
Hey, let me take these off. I got to make sure they're not. Hold on. I got to put these green ones back on. But Xander, here's a guy he's not fighting for a new contract. This guy's fighting to stay in the league and have his credibility retained. And so, you know what? Again, like you said, I don't know. But I do know this. Hey, at least he's addressing shit that he didn't address in Tampa. And maybe this is something here going into this year. He's got a coach that's telling him, hey, Kai, here's who you are. You got one last chance here, man. You want to be considered an NFL linebacker? It could be right here with me. And guess what? I could save your ass.
Yeah.
It's like the Jeff Stoutland kind of shit.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, look, he's had a lot of bad seasons. So hopefully Devon White can be something. I like the approach he's had for sure. I agree with you there. I like him texting. I like him kind of taking some of that leadership role. But look, I think it was Vic said it. The best way to be a leader in the NFL is to play up to your talent and play up to your level and be a great player. And if Devon White isn't a great player, you can take the group chat and the leadership and all that shit and throw it out the window. You got to be a great player first. Once you're a great player, great. Then lead men. Then go and lead your team to the promised land. But from Devon White, I want to see it on the field too. But you're right. He's doing the right things off the field, and hopefully it translates.
If you had to pick the most athletic duo, quarterback, running back, would it be Hurts and Barkley or Lamar and Derrick Henry?
Athletic?
Athletically.
Well, I think Lamar's obviously has the edge on Hurts in that front, but I think probably
is it by a lot though?
Lamar's when you're talking, you're talking about running.
You both love him. I got it.
Well, no, you're talking about a guy. I mean, he's
special.
He's a special runner. I mean, Hurts is great, but Hurts isn't moving like that. I mean, look, I love Hurts' game, and I think he is a great runner. He's the second in the NFL, but that guy at first is really damn good.
I think Derrick Henry's going to.
That doesn't mean I think Lamar is that great, much better of a quarterback. But you asked me athletically, I think Lamar is better, but I think Saquon's probably more athletic than Derrick. Derrick is kind of just a freak of nature. Yeah, he's a freak of nature. I mean, but
it's like a refrigerator running down the sidelines.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'd probably take my duo here in Philadelphia, ride with my guys, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley.
Okay, hold on here. You got a little time here for my 2024 Big Sills NFL bold predictions?
Yeah.
All right.
They sucked. You had shitty bold predictions.
Here is the first one right out of the gate. 2024 NFL bold prediction: Aaron Rodgers wins the Most Valuable Player award.
That's a terrible prediction. Why? Who's he throwing to that he's going to be that
2 years removed from winning the MVP, and he says that's terrible.
He hasn't played a game. He didn't play a game last year. He played 6 snaps.
So what? He sucks?
I didn't say he sucked. I said he's not going to be the MVP of the league.
MVP all over that.
I'll take Jalen Hurts' MVP odds over
here. God.
I'll take Jalen Hurts' odds over that bomb.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is like, I've never heard somebody praise more than Aaron Rodgers for never winning shit. The guy has won Super Bowl, and everyone's like, he's the greatest quarterback in the world. Eli Manning has more rings than Aaron Rodgers.
When your boy wins one, and then we'll start talking.
Okay, I'll wake you up when it's an 18-year career and there's actually something to knock. Right now, he's had 3 years starting, and he's been in the Super Bowl, one of them. Same as Aaron Rodgers, who's got 18 years of being the greatest quarterback in the world.
First ballot.
I know he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but what do you want to be, a Hall of Famer or a champion?
He's both.
Okay, he's a one-time champion, and you could argue that that's a big letdown for how much he's talked about as the greatest quarterback since sliced bread. I don't give a shit. I want to win Super Bowls. Tom Brady was supposedly worse than Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I'll take Tom Brady. Thank you very much. Guy can't even fit his Super Bowl rings on one hand.
Bold prediction number 2. CeeDee Lamb sets the regular season receptions number, where last year he had 135 catches. The number's 149 in 2019 by Michael Thomas.
And you think he's going to break that this year?
He's only 14 off it a year ago. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, let me know what that gets you, CD. I hope you have an awesome regular season.
It's going to get 36 million.
I hope we can crown you guys again as the greatest regular season team that's ever existed in the history of the NFL. And enjoy your January on your couch. That's it. I don't give a shit if you set the receptions record. What does that do for me?
Well, it gets him 36 million.
Okay, good. I hope he gets it. I hope every player in the NFL gets the biggest bag of money they can humanly possibly get. That's how I feel about every single player. So when you ask me about the money thing, yeah, sure. I hope he gets it. I really do. But I'm talking about winning games. I don't care if he has 149 receptions. That does nothing.
James Jones, you in here? All right. 2024 Big Sills NFL bold predictions. Jalen Daniels sets the rookie passing record of 43-74 set by Andrew Luck, and they win the NFC East.
You think the Commanders are going to win the NFC East?
I do.
Because they drafted some cupcake out of the SEC? What's he going to come on and be the greatest?
I think they got way better linebackers than you. They've got wide receivers that are outstanding. They're all lines coming around. Their D-line's not bad now. They need a pass rusher, and their secondary is more experienced.
Did James Jones drop a Maloik on you or something?
No, I'm not the only one says that. SI's saying it too.
Oh, I'm sure they are. No,
they
I'm not
are
saying that at all. That's a terrible prediction.
Terrible. Look at them. Terrible.
The Washington Commanders haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. You want me to buy that you think they're going to win the NFC East? Okay, great. I won't buy it, and I think I'll feel pretty good.
You haven't had a repeat champion in 20 in the East either.
Okay, and we didn't win last year. So it looks like the Eagles are set up pretty damn good to win.
The Eagles are. Okay. Bold prediction number 5. Look at him shitting on all these, man. Rams defensive tackle Kobe Turner becomes a definite candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, who had 9 sacks last year as a rookie. This kid's pretty good out of Wake Forest. He was a 3rd-round pick. They did a nice job. I think he turns out to be the heir apparent for Aaron Donald.
Pretty good player, but I'm not putting him in Aaron Donald range. I actually think we have the defensive player of the year here in Philadelphia in Jalen Carter, who was better than that guy last year.
Number 6, not going very well here. Nick Chubb leads the National Football League in rushing, coming off a knee injury.
Another
He
terrible
takes
prediction.
takes the Browns to a rushing record.
That's a terrible prediction.
Hey, why? Because Barkley's
how
been
many
better
running
than
backs in
Chubb.
the history of the NFL have you seen get a catastrophic knee injury and come back and lead the league in rushing?
Adrian Peterson went for 2,047 yards the next year.
For Nick Chubb's Adrian Peterson now. One of the greatest
Nick
running backs
Chubb
to ever play in the NFL.
Who do you think's had a better career, Nick Chubb or Barkley?
Nick Chubb.
Okay, let's remember that. He's a good player, kid.
I know that.
Oh, well.
Your bold prediction is that he's going to lead the league in rushing.
On the second best.
I mean, what I will say is they do have a good offensive line in Cleveland.
Second best.
They have, you could argue they're right there with the top 2 with Detroit. I mean, they're right in there. So you're right about that. I mean, I hope he stays healthy and bounces back, but I'm just not going to take that type of prediction after a knee injury like that. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I don't know what's worse, that one or the Commanders are going to win the East prediction. That was like, what the hell was that?
Bold prediction number 7. Jim Harbaugh wins the NFL Coach of the Year award.
Which one is that? Is that the new one or is that the guy that's been in the league? I can't keep track of him.
That's the guy who was in the league. Then he went to Michigan.
All right. Jim is the new one. He's in LA, right?
Yeah, he's with the Chargers.
All right. Yeah, I'm not buying that. What did you say? He's going to win Coach of the Year?
Coach of the Year.
All right. So what are they going to be? About time they finally do something with all that talent on that team. Justin Herbert, he's like on the fast track to Aaron Rodgers territory without a ring now. This guy, have you seen him? He's 6'6".
Unreal talent.
I've seen the arm. The guy can't win anything.
Unreal talent.
I know. You love his talent so much. Meanwhile, he's never won when it mattered once. And our guys went to the Super Bowl, and all you got to say is bad things.
Big Bad Sills saying bad things about Jalen Hurts.
No, I'm just saying you're not factoring in all the
Justin Herbert. Exactly, man.
You're not factoring in all the context that you should be factoring in.
What's that?
That Jalen Hurts has won.
He's won. Okay. Yeah, right. He's won. What did he do last year? I must have missed that.
What did Justin Herbert do last year? What did Dak Prescott do last year? What about all these other quarterbacks that you glaze?
I glaze? What do you mean that I glaze? I got to find this picture.
Like a glazed donut, these guys. It's gross.
What's that?
I mean, you're glazing all these guys up, and it's trash. It really is.
Oh, really? Really? So what? You think Jalen Hurts is as good a quarterback or better talent?
When it comes to Jalen
Herbert.
When it comes to Jalen Hurts, the mentality is, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl every single year, I'm going to call out every reason why he's the worst quarterback and it was a terrible contract and he's never going to win in Philly. With every other quarterback, it's look at the talent. Look at the arm. I don't care if they don't win. It's bullshit. Factor in the context. Jalen Hurts has won more than these guys. I know you don't like his skill set. That doesn't matter.
My friend, you'll understand one day once you get a little bit older and you've been around a little bit here. Justin Herbert is a fantastic talent. That's why nobody looks at your guy as a better player than him. Only people do is the people that are in Philly. That's it.
That's not true.
Oh, totally. When you look at those top 10 lists,
wait.
Herbert's on those lists.
What's that little thing?
Not.
Wait, pick up that little thing you showed me when I came on today. Pick up the Barty trophy. Where is it? I know you got it back there. Let me give you a Barty trophy for having some talent. Okay, you take your Barty trophy home. Come on, man. Get out of here with that. What is talent if you don't win games?
Overhyped, overrated. Here we go. Here's another one.
Overhyped and overrated. I think Justin Herbert is a little overhyped and a lot of overrated.
You'll love this one. Number 8. The Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Why don't you see it? Now, let's go here with winning because golf does win. Okay,
The
tell
Detroit
me
Lions will
what?
lose in the NFC title game to the Philadelphia Eagles, baby.
This is really getting out of hand, Bill Colarulo. I mean, Xander. I mean, this is really. I'm very disappointed in what I'm hearing now, man. I've lost my son. I've absolutely lost him. He's no longer, man. He's Bills now. Holy
The Lions,
me.
another team that haven't won shit in how many years, and Big Sills wants to crown him as the next greatest thing in the NFL. Come on, man. I'm not buying that. Eagles are better teams than all these teams.
This is just going here. Okay. Here's another one. Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys missed the playoffs, and Bill Belichick's named the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I could actually see that. I could see that. I could see that big time. That's all right. Congratulations. You finally made a good, bold prediction on your NFL
Shit, it's
list.
got down to 10.
Yeah, well, about time. I mean, you pulled one out, so at least you didn't shoot 0% from the field. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I think the Cowboys are going to underachieve this year big time. I don't think Mike McCarthy is what they think he's going to be for them. I think they're going to have problems in the locker room with none of their star players getting a contract. Dak Prescott still no contract. CeeDee Lamb still no contract. Micah Parsons still no contract. Nobody in Dallas land is happy right now except for the guy who's sitting at the top making all the money, and he's entitled to do that. But talking about the football field, I don't think they're going to have a very good year, which is why your prediction could be possible. The question will be if Jerry Jones wants to take on a guy like Bill Belichick who will not be told what to do at every turn.
And Xander keeps the heat on, Sills. Don't worry, son. Don't worry. Jalen Hurts.
Sills, you know I love your show.
Jalen Hurts is just the guy.
Sills, you know I love your show, and you know I love your talent, and you know I love how you've been doing this forever. But Sills, this has got to be your worst list you've ever created.
Oh, this is one of my absolute greatest lists. Are you kidding me?
This list of bold predictions is some of the worst bold predictions I've ever heard.
Is one of the absolute sensations. I
guarantee it. Has the Commanders winning the NFC East. That is bold for bold's sake. That's just flat out dumb.
I got the Bengals winning the AFC.
I like that one. That one I can take. There you go. There's another good one. That's a good one. I think the Chiefs ultimately do again because they've given me every reason. Why would I bet against them? If you bet against them in the last 3 years, you've just been proven to be dumb. So I'm not going to bet against the Chiefs anymore. I think the Chiefs honestly are going to do it.
I'm going to do two more here.
Oh, look who showed up! Look who showed up in the chat. James Jones. What did you do with Dan Sileo? Return Dan Sileo to his home, James.
No.
I believe you've abducted him.
I'm with you.
And Commanders Maloik on him. He has the Commanders winning the NFC. What a crazy take by Big Sills.
This is why Big Sills, 2 years ago when I put the Eagles in the Super Bowl, everyone was like, they're not really? Even Xander went, really? And I went, yeah, I think the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. Yes. Okay. This is why they call it Big Sills bold predictions.
Okay.
One last one here. Drew Lock will end the year as the Giants starting quarterback in New York.
Great. Even Joe Shane's son is like, get this Daniel Jones guy out of here, Dad. He's going to get you fired. That at least you didn't say the Giants were going to win the NFC East. Maybe there is a little bit of brain left in there.
How about this one? Deshaun Watson has 32 passing touchdowns and 10 more rushing.
I kind of like that because I liked him a lot. I don't think he's this bad of a player. I think eventually he's going to figure it out again. So I don't mind that one. And I also like the Justin Fields one. Russell Wilson his time is
Fields
over.
Take over.
And it's not just to do with the talent. It's a different league. It's a different world. It's a different player. And he just doesn't relate with these dudes anymore, man. He is like a goofy guy. And I don't think it bodes well for being the starting quarterback of an NFL team in today's world. I think Justin Fields takes over there. By the way, I don't think he's going to be very good either.
James Jones. Always listen to Big Sills. Washington Commanders / Redskins win the NFC East and take home
James Jones. Can you educate this guy?
You know why?
Even James Jones knows that.
James, get this. You have a better defense than they do.
I got to get out of here. Jason Cole's ready to jump on.
I'm going to do some of these. We'll find out what a national perspective is instead of you sitting here. Man, I got to do this. These Eagle glasses, man, they must be green.
Okay, I'll be watching and I'll be waiting to see.
Today?
I'll be waiting to see what Jason Cole has to say to you having the Washington Commanders winning the NFC East. They haven't won a playoff game in 20+ years, and now they drafted.
I just saw Jason laugh. He better.
They drafted a quarterback in the first round, and now Dan Sileo has got them winning the NFC
I
East.
have them winning the NFC East because the curse of Daniel Snyder is gone.
Big Sills, I will catch you tomorrow on the show.
Don't forget,
all right, brother.
Xander, you doing that specialty show after
tonight.
the program? Yep.
Yes, sir.
Tell everyone again right after this show here. Xander is doing a special Birds 365 because John was out there at training camp today. So they'll be doing a nighttime version of that. So make sure you guys stick around to that. And right after, you check those guys out because John's doing a spectacular job, Xander, by bringing you guys that content. And it's really good stuff. So we so appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Make sure you check Xander out in the morning, too. He does a specialty show for about an hour. So make sure you hit the like button. All right. Let's get to my Hall of Fame voter and my national man. And I'm going to start it out with Jason Cole here.
No. We're going to start it out with what are you talking about with the Commanders?
I got the Commanders winning the NFC East. Jason, what? What? Why is that crazy?
Where do I start? Where do I start unraveling that? Like, are you on dope or just a dope? What are you? What are you? What are you thinking?
Getting killed again here.
What are you thinking? Rookie quarterback, first-year head coach, an organization that, by the way, in the last 32 years, do you know their greatest number of wins in any season in the last 32 years is 10. They've done it 3 times. Yes, double digits. In the NFL, a parity-rich league, okay, since they last won a Super Bowl, they've won as many as 10 games, and only 10 games, 3 times. 3. And they're all of a sudden going to win a division?
The worm has turned, Jason Cole. Ye of little faith.
I know you went to UM, okay? But you were not a cocaine cowboy down there, were you? No.
Are you crazy?
I know.
Steroid Dan taking coke, that wasn't going to work. Hey, I can only do one vice at a time, man. That other one wasn't going to be a good combo. Hey, how you doing? Hey, no. Someone goes like this. Hey, would you like to have an 8-ball? I'm like, are you crazy? I just took some shots, so that's not going to happen. No, it's the only thing that kept me off of drugs, Jason.
Was being on roids.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I didn't bet 600 pounds because, I'm natural. However,
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let me give you some more bold predictions here.
Well, yeah, you came out the gate strong.
Aaron Rodgers wins the NFL's Most Valuable Player Award.
Wow, that's bold. Way to go way out on a limb on that one.
Oh, wait. So you're saying that's a possibility?
Well, he's only won it like 17 times, right? Yeah, wait. I'll never take a guy who's won it before, who happens to be one of those most talented quarterbacks in the history of the league. Oh, man, that's going way out there. Way out there, pal.
You hear that one, Xander? All right. Here's a new one.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb sets the regular season receptions record that was set by Michael Thomas in 2019 at 149. A year ago, Lamb had 135 catches. He was 14 off the number.
I like the bet because I think some people will take it and go with the over. I would not. I would say no. But I'll say this: it's not going to be for lack of effort by the Cowboys. Let's just put it that way.
Here's the Jalen Daniels one. Jalen Daniels. That's the rookie passing record and passes Andrew Luck's record of 43.74 in his rookie season with the Washington Commanders.
Move on. Next.
You don't like you don't think he can break
No shot.
Luck's record?
No shot.
Man, you're only doing that because you're Stanford colors.
I want to say this is the under/over 8.5 games that he starts.
Oh, I think he's going to be opening day starter.
Well, I think he's going to be opening day starter. I don't dispute that, but I think he's going to struggle. Number one. Number two, I think there's a good chance he's probably going to get hurt too because of the way that he plays. And number three, I'm not sure that. Well, this relates to number one. Like, this is a hard league to play in, and it's not like they had the most advanced offense at LSU that he was playing in. This is going to be a culture shock for him in terms of the level of play. So I'm not saying he's not going to eventually be a good quarterback. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but I think he's going to struggle in his first year.
Justin Fields will eventually take the starting job from Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh by the end of the year.
That's a coin flip. It's an interesting bet, but it's a coin flip. I think Justin Fields is going to start at some point in time, and not just like a spot start. Like, he's going to get a chance. He's going to get a chance to see if he can actually play this year. Is it going to be 1, 2, 3 games? Will be determined by how effective he is. But yeah, I think that Fields is going to get a shot. I just don't know how long it's going to last because I think Fields has a lot of work to do.
Nick Chubb, coming off of a knee injury, leads the National Football League in rushing.
Yeah, no. They'll baby him too much.
He's got the second best O-line.
Yeah, but I think they baby him a little too much. And not baby him, you're not going to wear him out that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure you get a couple.
You think they're going to pace him?
Yeah, like 200. You get to 200 to 225 carries, maybe 250, but I think you need to get more than that. I would say the answer is no.
How about Harbaugh winning?
I'll take Derrick. You can give me Derrick Henry now.
Oh, I'm going to get to him here in a second.
Yeah.
How about Jim Harbaugh wins the NFL Coach of the Year award?
He's in the field because he would be, like, if you're identifying 6 guys who have a really interesting chance to do it and give him the advantage of he's got a quarterback, right? And he doesn't necessarily have to go deep into the playoffs or even make the playoffs. And now, if he does make the playoffs, which I think they can do, he's going to be in the realm, right? They've got talent. They've still got a pretty talented roster, even though they tore it down. So he's got tools to work with and recognition factor and all of that. So I put him in that group of 4 to 6 guys that you'd say, yeah, they're right there.
Here's the one of the day. I have the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl.
I like that. I think that's fun. I think that I hope so, because Dan Campbell would be so much fun. Because
you think he takes that NFC loss where he had that game that they made those critical mistakes down the line, where he understands that, in games like that, you can't make those critical errors like that. And that just shows you the game of inches shows up in games like you've always said, the postseason. One bad call could cost you the entire. Look at Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. He drops the ball, puts it on the carpet. That was the determining factor in the game.
Right. I would say it's a 2-part thing to me. Number one, he's going to learn from that there are times that you should be tactical and go for that in the regular season, especially where you need to get scores in the regular season. Second part is you learn in the playoffs. Yeah, it's much more about 1 or 2 critical mistakes, keeping teams pinned. But I think number 3 that works for him in this one is I think that the statement of that play keeps the players behind him. The players believe in stuff like that, and they believe in consistency, and they believe that guys should, put faith in them until they shouldn't anymore, right? Like, if you're a player, hey, that guy's putting faith in me. He's telling me I got a chance to get it done. If I don't do it, then it's on me, right? And that's what Dan Campbell's doing. He's saying, guys, I'm putting faith in you guys, and we're going to do this until we can't.
I have Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys missing the playoffs and Belichick becoming the head football coach at the end of the year.
I see nothing wrong with that narrative. Look, the Cowboys are talented in a bad division. Like, I think New York's terrible, and I think Washington's not very good, and those two teams are going to struggle. And Philly, we'll see which Philly team shows up. They've lost a lot this offseason. We talked about
a lot of unknown questions on defense.
The changes in the coaching staff, the losses of the veteran guys like Kelsey and Cox. There's just a lot there that you're like unsure. What is this Eagles team, right? I still think they're so talented that they're a playoff team. The Cowboys are talented, but man, they do not play tough guy football. You know what I'm saying? Like, they play a pretty style of football, and I think the loss of Dan Quinn for that defense is a pretty big one.
Absolutely. I have the Bengals winning the AFC.
Good bet. That's I don't have anything wrong
all
with that.
About Burrow being upright, right?
Yeah, Burrow's the key. Look, there's three quarterbacks at the top of the AFC, and there's one who's, there's Mahomes sort of by himself, but you can say that Allen and Burrow nip at his heels.
Absolutely.
Right? And they're trying to get they're just a couple of plays away from having taken him down.
And maybe Lamar trying to elbow his way in the room.
Well, Lamar is there. And I had this long discussion on Twitter with a guy who's like, when in reacting to John Harbaugh's comment about he's going to be one of the all-time greats, I'm like, don't do that to Lamar Jackson. He's a terrific player. He does a lot.
That was just coach stuff.
Yeah, that was coach stuff. But there's stuff you just don't do. And I like Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson has to have everything perfect around him. Like, the defense has to play really well. The running game has to be really good. And other things have to fall in place.
Yeah, you know what, too, Jason? Falling in place would be, think about this. The road to win the Super Bowl or the conference title in the AFC, you don't want to face Allen or Mahomes in the AFC title game. You want something to fall, like you just said, where one of those guys don't fall in that place to get to the game.
Well, they blew a big chance last year in the loss to Kansas City, right? Where they put the ball on the ground, and then Lamar threw a pick, also put the ball on the ground, and had 4 sacks. Those 4 or 5 big plays that go against you, you got to reduce that down to 1 or 2. Because the plays are going to go against you in the course of a game. That's just reality of football. But you can't have 5 or 6 of those go against you and expect to beat a quality team. So again, things have to fall in place. You're at home against Kansas City. Don't put the ball on the ground. Don't make critical mistakes. And, also don't run the ball only 8 times, throughout the game.
I got Derrick Henry rushing for 1,600 yards in Baltimore.
So how do you have a combo where you have Chubb leading the league in rushing, but Derrick Henry going for 1,600 yards?
Oh, I think Chubb's going to have 1,700 yards rushing because of that O-line and because of what I think Deshaun Watson's having a bounce-back season. And I think he's going to be a guy who's going to throw for about 32 touchdowns and run for another 10. It's he either does that, or you could take that contract and light that thing on fire. Because
of course,
you're paying him to be that, what I just said.
Of course you're paying him to be that, and he hasn't been that yet. I don't, I'll say this. I agree wholeheartedly on Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be a monster in that attack because Lamar Jackson does just enough, and this as a frontline defender. He does just enough to make you hesitate that much, right?
He's a weapon.
Right, he's a weapon. So you have to respect this. This is I go back to Marshawn Lynch had his best years when he was lined up next to a young Russell Wilson, because a young Russell Wilson would take off just enough times, okay, that the defense has to keep one eye on him at all times. Same thing Kaepernick with Frank Gore, right? Like they had good combination of running backs making it work there. When you have a quarterback who's going to occupy your senses for just a little bit, it doesn't need to be much, but it's that one little blip that is putting your foot, the running back puts his foot in the ground and accelerates. That's all you need to have. And I think Derrick Henry's going to get that. I think Derrick Henry's also going to be just continue to pound people on the outside after he's hit them. I like Derrick Henry this year a lot. I think he's going to be a monster.
Drew Lock ends the year as the Giants starting quarterback.
I like that one. I like that. I like it a lot. Now, does Dayball survive and get a chance?
I think Joe Schoen's the guy that's in trouble.
Who gets it? Who gets to pick the next quarterback? The GM,
Dayball
with Dayball with a new GM, and they let Dayball go for another 3 years. Like I think it's fascinating to see how that's going to play out, because Dayball kind of lost his mind a lot last year, right? And didn't show a lot of poise in certain games. Didn't handle quarterbacks particularly well on the field, and that's not how the Maras. They don't like that look.
No, they don't like what happened, from what I'm understanding. And again, I grew up around.
You just know them. If you just know them,
I grew up around them, and I know them, and I know John well, and that's the Tishes and the Maras. I mean, if Wellington was alive, he'd be rolling over in his grave right now, watching the way that Hard Knocks has gone. He'd be rolling in his grave, because that's not Giants putting that out there like that. And Joe Schoen looked like a jackass talking to Barkley the way he did. And I just thought the whole thing, and it would not shock me this, Jason, because they've brought Scott Pioli in as an advisor. And that's Parcells, or I think it's either Belichick or Parcells is related to Parcells.
Or is his son-in-law?
Yeah, that's it. It wouldn't shock me if Scott Pioli became general manager of the New York Giants at the end of the season, and he worked with Dayball, because he worked with Nick Caserio in New England for all them years up there, and they brought a lot of talent up there.
Yeah,
John likes him.
Yeah, I like Scott Pioli. I'm not sure how Scott's going to be handled in New York media, unless he's gotten old and Scott.
No, he's still the same guy.
Scott's a really good guy, but when the spotlight is on him, he gets real uptight. Yeah, he gets real uptight.
Did you see John Dorsey being interviewed for that gig? John Dorsey found Mahomes in Kansas City, found Tyreek Hill, did a lot of good things. Now, his bedside manner, to your point, his bedside manner is terrible. And he is a guy that doesn't have a lot of patience either. I mean, he built the Cleveland Browns roster too. And he found Myles Garrett.
He built the Chiefs roster, built the Browns roster, was in Green Bay before that, doing a really good job. Has helped a lot in Detroit. Like John
he's just a jackass, though, man.
I don't know. I have a softer spot with
I like him too, but he rubs. He doesn't take.
Well, he certainly rubbed Clark Hunt the wrong way.
And I think also too, Jimmy Haslam. They ran he ran him down too a little bit.
Well, he doesn't like. John does not tolerate fools, including ones who are above him.
And a heck of a talent evaluator.
Right. So that's why I always look. If I was an owner, and I would tell this to an owner, I'd say, put Dorsey in charge of picking the players. Don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him. Don't leave him alone, and let him hire Scott McLuhan, and those guys can sit in a room and drink beers and evaluate players and just, and pick a really great roster, but don't talk to them. And also don't let them really talk to the media because they don't really want to talk to the media anyway. I mean, Dorsey will talk to the media. McLuhan will talk to the media and share insights, but they shouldn't be doing it publicly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, the Steelers have a water tower at their practice. Put his office up the top up there and let him just sit up there. Don't ever see him. You don't have to go talk to him. It's kind of like Santa. You see him once a year. Just throw him up there. Don't talk to him. Don't deal with him. He'll rifle you players. You don't have to get it because if you keep the guy around, there's a guy in here that said he also found Chris Jones too. That guy can find you talent, man. He's a heck of a talent evaluator.
Right, and that's what this is all about. Like this is just and as a media guy, it hurts me to say that because I want to know what guys think when they're picking players and stuff like that. Just so I understand. But in the case of some guys, like especially the craggy old football guys who just have no patience for it. Like there's no reason. There's no just have somebody else who answers the questions. Just do it that way.
Couple more here for you, Jace. You got time? Couple more. I got two more.
Oh, yeah, go do it.
All right. Bryce Young will have a bounce back year and throw for 24 touchdowns and only 9 picks.
Nope.
Boy, you're not sold on him, huh? You think he goes the other way?
I'm afraid so.
He's small?
Yeah, you know what? He's small, and he looked smaller. And because he got overwhelmed. Now, I don't think it's going to be as bad as last year because they simply couldn't protect him, right? And I think the kid can wing it. But when a quarterback looks small, and it's not something you can put a number on, it's a feeling. I remember watching Heath Schuler one time, long ago, right? We're going 20 years back. And he was in a scrimmage against the Redskins against the Dolphins, scrimmage down in Fort Lauderdale or something like that. I think it was the year Jimmy was taken over with the Dolphins, and he just got in the pocket and he just scrunched up like this, right? Like he's just afraid to get hit. And I think Heath Schuler was like 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'4". I swear to God, he looked like he was 5'11". And I was like, man, Schuler just looks small. He played small. And when I looked at Bryce Young, I said, he's already small and I can see it, but he's playing smaller because I think he realizes just how deep in trouble he is, right? Like he's playing against, all of a sudden he's playing against men. And he's not, like, there are certain guys who just don't belong on a football field because they're just not built for this world. And there are a handful of them. Now, occasionally you get that little return guy like Darren Sproles or something like that who can handle it. But sometimes there are guys who they're just not built for this game. And I've seen Bryce Young and I see their arm talent. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have the mind for it or anything else like that. But, wow, small.
Yeah.
Just small.
Is there a problem in San Francisco now with Trent Williams holding out, and now also you got Brandon Ayuk? You got 2 football players as now, again, it's only July 25th. Let's not get crazy here. However, and plus a guy like Trent doesn't really need training camp, okay? I'm not even sure Ayuk does. Ayuk's their best blocking wide receiver, and I agree with you, Jace. If they're going to move anybody, they're going to move Debo. They're not moving him, and I agree. John Lynch said the same thing. He goes, we're going to win the Super Bowl, and he's not going anywhere. So all these fantasy things about Washington, Pittsburgh, maybe New England, that ain't happening. San Francisco's not doing that. But the Trent Williams thing, does it concern you here, or is that not a concern? Because, again, he's a 34-year-old guy, 5-year-old guy.
I'm not worried about the lost practice time.
Yeah.
But he's their most valuable player.
Oh, absolutely. He's their best player.
And he's their best player because he makes that offensive line functional. Like, without him,
McCaffrey's nowhere.
Well, it's a bunch of, I mean, you saw the three.
Because they run behind him almost 70% of the time.
Or they show that they're going to run behind him almost all the time and then run somewhere else, and he makes the other guys more effective. But look, how did they run their offense when he was gone for 3 games in the middle of the season?
It was a train wreck.
Yeah, it was an absolute train wreck. So, no, he's their most valuable player. But I think their problem is the shape of contracts around the league, because Trent Williams just saw the kid up in Minnesota get paid a whole lot of money, right? Like, what was that, 30-something million a year, right? And he's probably going, hello, I'm better than that dude. Like, I just am. And I deserve to get paid like that. And Brandon Ayuk, say what you want about him. I think he's a rising player, but I think he's a rising player in this system with this quarterback. But he's looking at Jalen Waddle's contract going, I'm better than that dude.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong, right? And so the number needs to be 28 with a lot guaranteed and all that kind of stuff. You know, the one problem, I think that the Trent Williams one will work itself out. They'll find a way. The Ayuk one is tricky because the dad's involved, and the dad's a smart guy. But when family gets involved in your contract, it sometimes is no longer logical. It's, you know, it's gut feeling like, am I being respected? Am I being taken care of? Like, there was an NIL situation I learned about recently at Stanford, right? So there's one basketball player gets paid $1 million, and this one of the women's players on the team goes, I want, you know, if he's getting that much, I deserve to get this much, or I'm going down to UCLA or USC or whatever it was, right? And the number was like, she thought he was getting like 2.5 times what he was getting. And all of a sudden it just became a jealousy thing. And so it wasn't logical anymore. And she ended up leaving. And the Ayuk situation is kind of not logical anymore at a certain point. And it needs to get back to that. And hopefully by having the player in camp there, it gets back to being a little bit more logical.
I want to ask you a hypothetical here. You believe that the 18-game season's coming, right?
There's no doubt.
Okay. So let me go here with you on this. You know, in the NBA, they do something called load management. And they rest players. And, you know, because of the amount of pounding that they take, the traveling, and what they'll do is they sit some guys.
Can I stop you? Can I stop you before you continue on? The difference in the NBA is you got a lot more games, and to qualify for the playoffs is a lower threshold in terms of how many games you win.
The NFL is way more physical than the NBA.
I understand that, but the number of games, when you only have 18 and you've got to get every one of them, like there's not a lot of games where you can just sit guys.
You don't think they would sit? You don't think if you're taking on a team that's won 2, 3 games and you're a football team that you know your first team can win? Well, again, player contracts too, because they're not guaranteed. They're based on incentives, a lot of them too, on playing percentages. That's where you're not going to get. So would you agree then, if you're not going to have any kind of load management, the load management would be league instituted with 2 buys?
I think the only way that you do this is if something really, the 2 buys is necessary. And the 2 buys also, I think there's a way to solve the issue of the Thursday night game, which is, I think that if you have double buys, you can arrange it so that teams going into that game get a bye going into it, and then get that Sunday off coming out, obviously, right? So you basically have 10 days going in and you have 10 days coming out, right, of that game. I think that makes for a better Thursday night product if you get to the 2 buys at that point in time. So there's things that you can play with. I just think that, like, you have so few games that, and knowing coaches the way that both of us know coaches, like, they don't, load management is not part of football.
Do you think, though, Jason, there'd be more open to, if you clinched home field and you clinched your division, that you would sit those guys more than sometimes going. Now, again, playing
Yeah,
incentives and all of that play into players going, I don't want to sit. I'm at the threshold of my 70% roster bonus that if I play 70% of the games, I get an additional 1.9. So, I mean, those are built into the contracts, what a lot of fans don't know. So, again, you got to worry about the playing incentives. Still, you'd be more open not to just say, let's run through the tape and play all 16, 17 games. Because if I clinch it now and I'm playing 18 ball games, that means I'm playing 21 total if I win the Super Bowl. Man, and plus the 2 preseason, that's a ton of football.
I know.
It's 25 games in a year if you win it all.
I'm going to say this. The future of football to me eventually gets to
20?
Two scrimmages. No, the 18s is you can't go past 18.
What if they have expansion?
You still can't go past 18. It's just too hard. But I don't know that they're ever going to go past 32. Because getting people to opponent, they're already worried enough right now about who can afford to buy a team.
You don't think they would put a team in London, in Toronto?
No, never. The London thing to me has always been
cash register. Start the cash register 3 hours earlier.
It's a pipe dream.
Yeah, I got it. I never thought it was going to happen either.
Right, but I mean, imagine 24-year-old Dan Sileo in London living full time, or here's a better one. Imagine Mrs. Sileo living in London with a kid 4,000 miles from her mother and father.
She'd leave after week 4.
Right, like it just like from a living. This is what the NFL's never really understood. Your guys have to live there, otherwise you're not part of the community. Number one, number two, it's just too. I like the living situation is too hard to go to Europe. Anywhere in Europe, London or anywhere else that you want to pick. Like the guys are just not going to do it. Some guys will do it. The 22-year-old guy from Alabama who just wants a job and is single and just hey, there's women everywhere. I don't care, right? Like that guy's gonna go. But getting a guy who's 6-7 years into the league, who's got 2 or 3 kids, and he's got a choice between playing in London or maybe going back home to the States, you're never going to keep him because the wife and the girlfriend are going to say, "I'm tired of this. It's just the way it is."
We went over and played in Frankfurt once, and again, my girlfriend then, now my wife, goes, when are we leaving? I go, the game is Sunday. He's like this, it's Tuesday. I mean, and I'm going, we just got here 24 hours ago. She goes, when do we leave? And I'm like, I just think you hate Germany. And she goes like this. She goes, just get me out of here.
You should have bought her the ticket home right then and there. You would have had a better week.
I lived in Austria for a year, for about 7-8 months.
Well, I mean, look, it's again for a young guy, it can be fun. If you have responsibilities, you have a family, you're getting started, you got little kids, because you're on ocean from your family. That's just the way it is, man.
Let me sneak one little one in here on you. You think there'll be 3 wide receivers this year with 1,800 yards?
Well, you got Tyreek,
AJ,
yeah,
and CD. CD had 1,700 last year.
I think that's an interesting call. That's an interesting call. I mean,
passing and they took the hip drop out. It's going to be harder to get these guys on the ground this year. It's going to be a little more difficult to get.
By the way, how do you feel about the hip? Where are you on the hip drop?
I think what you've really done is that you've created something now where you're going to have to herd these guys and getting people on the ground. That's a technique tackle, that hip drop. I used to use it, and you're taught that. Rugby players, my daughter plays with that technique, and she's taught that technique, and it does put the guy you're tackling in a position where you can bend his knee back and blow his knee out. It can do that. if you're not skilled enough to do it. What makes it an open space, though, you can't have big hits on the receivers any longer in open space. So that's out of the game because it's defenseless. Now you're taking the hurting down and just trying to get them on the ground. I'm not sure how you're going to get these guys on the ground in open space. Guys like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, these are world-class athletes that you're going to what? Frighten them to fall down?
Well, think about Deebo Samuel without a hip drop.
How do you get him on the ground?
Yeah,
and so I think you're going to see these receiver numbers really balloon up this year because what you're done is, look, you can't hit defenseless. You can't chuck the receiver at the line of scrimmage any longer.
That's hip drop. You can't hip drop.
You can't hip drop. Okay. You barely can hit the quarterback. I mean, the call that a couple of years ago with Brady in Carolina was a joke. I mean, so you're protecting the quarterback, you're protecting the wide receiver, and you're disabling the defensive guy from getting him on the ground. That's why I think these offensive numbers, and this is what the league wants because of prop bets, they want those numbers to go up. And so I think you're going to see these wide receiver numbers. I think you're going to see them escalate this year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think that the other thing is you're going to see is a lot more Debo-style receivers who would have been running backs in the past line up at wide receiver.
I think that's a great call because you don't see running backs coming out of the game or coming out of college any longer. You know what you're seeing? You're seeing the McCaffreys, the Alvin Kamaras, this kid Bijan Robinson down in Atlanta. I think he could go for 2,000 total yards down here. Last year he had 950. He had 500 yards receiving. That was his rookie year in Atlanta with Desmond Ridder.
Right.
I mean, now you've got Kirk Cousins down there that's going to be able to get you the ball. I think that kid could get $2,000 down there, and that Atlanta line's the fourth best O-line in football. He's going to be a factor down there.
I agree. I agree with that. I'm just thinking about, like, if I'm drafted, I'm going to be drafted. You know, you still need to have your elite wide receiver, the guy who can get deep, get on top of a defense real fast, and force it back. But the Deebo Samuel, like Jamar Chase is a kind of a running back at wide receiver. You know, I used to think those guys were specialty guys. I think you're going to want to develop more of those guys because they're not going to want to play running back because the money is at wide receiver. So they're going to go say, put me out there. I'll take a short hitch, turn it into something because they can't hip drop me anymore, and I'm going to run through more tackles. The last thing I say to this is I feel bad for defensive guys, not just because they took the hip drop away, but because you don't practice tackling anymore.
No.
You can't. Like form tackling just doesn't exist because you have to practice tackling.
Tackling, I tell people all the time, is a skill set that to be a professional tackler, you really have to be a guy that like for me, Jace, any year I played, like especially when I played for Jimmy, I had 100 tackles as a defensive tackle, which today, I mean, most of the guys are getting 25. You're not seeing that any longer.
Let's say 60 if you're Aaron Donald, maybe.
Something like that. You're right. And I had 120 one year. And so, and I'll play Jerome. And the key to tackling, like you said, we did monster tackle drills. We practiced tackling. We practiced head, right side, left side. Like you said, today when I went to the Chargers camp, then I went to the Cowboy camp 2 years ago, and I went to a Rams camp last year. And I watched them. They hit bags for about 15 minutes. Then they get into team drills. Then they'll do some inside drill. And that'll be it for about an hour of practice. And get this, they're only limited because of the collective bargaining agreement. They could do that twice a week. And so back in the day, you did that every day.
You can't practice tackling. And so it's like wrestlers in high school. Like, you know, it's not just a brute force sport. It's an art of leverage, and it's an art of handling another human being and knowing how to get them on the ground. And like when you don't practice it, it's as simple as you're not going to be any good at it. That's just the bottom line.
Hey, as I get you out of here, when do you get your list of the new guys you're going to start taking a look at? Because the guys, by the way, I got to tell you something. Just this is a personal note to you. Did you vote for Devon Hester?
Yeah, I voted for Devon Hester.
Devon Hester,
not the first time, but
I told Devon Hester, I get Jason Cole on because he said to me, he goes, "Oh, he's one of my guys," and I go, "Does he know that?" He goes, "Probably not." I was told by a lot of people in the room and I go, "Yeah, well, I find it really remarkable that you made it," and he goes, "Me too," because I never had a position in my life in the NFL. I wasn't a receiver.
It was the biggest struggle. It was the biggest struggle I had coming to grips, because I do believe in that one area. Like, I was there in New York when Coughlin made the mistake of trying to kick deep into the end zone on that field goal at the end of the first half, and Hester took it 109. Right? It was it was a brilliant play, and I was there at the Super Bowl where he returned it. And I saw him. I mean, he's just.
They changed the kickoff rules because of him, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but it was breathtaking as an athlete to watch. But like, he couldn't be a wide receiver.
No, Miami did the same thing. They tried him at wideout. They tried him at DB. He just couldn't do it. He just wasn't gifted as a player on that. But then you put him in the special teams and on kickoff or punt return, you're like electric. Game changer. The only guy
I ever saw who, Deion was obviously amazing.
But it wasn't
like strong running. Like, to Hester, Hester ran really strong. It was just different. The only guy I ever saw who was even close to him, but it was at the college level, was Tamarick Vanover.
Oh, yeah, FSU.
Yeah, really special. Another guy who could just never find a position, right?
Yeah, Tamarick Vanover, he screwed up by going to the Canadian League, and he left Florida State, and he ended up going to the Canadian League. And then I think he got into the NFL, but he got poor. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got Jason, I think he got poor advice by going to the Canadian.
I lost your sound.
Oh,
I gotta go, dude. I love you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you, Jace. Thank you, my friend. All right, that's good. Jason Cole, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. Appreciate him doing this. All right, guys. Hey, Xander, by the way, where are we on the like list? Because we had 111 last time when we did the first part of the program. And we apologize, guys, that we had to do 2 different shows here. Guys, where are we right now? Please hit that like button. So we are at 80. So we need 10 more. Guys, 10 more, and we got 200 likes today. Got 111 on the first part of the program. We got 80 now. So we probably need 9 more likes, and we got our 200 for the day. Fantastic stuff. I'm so happy you guys hung with me here. We're going to reset. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. We are like 9 likes away from having our 200 because our first show did 111. Going into the break, we had 80. So we're sitting here about 9 shy. So I would say this, guys. We get 10 more, we're gold. And you guys really came through on the split show. I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you guys so much because first part of the program, we had a little bit of audio issues, but you guys hung with us here, man, and I really appreciate it. By the way, don't forget, right after the program, there's a special edition of Birds 365, and no question about it, they've been covering it, and John's done a really great job. Absolutely. So we had to stop the show. We turned it back around again a second later, and we were able to get the glitch all taken care of. Thank you so much, Senor. Hey, Senor, I can't thank you enough. I know you give me a ton of shit, brother. I like twice. Thank you, Steve. Awesome stuff. 98 likes? We got 98 likes? We got our 200, Xander. We got our 200. Congratulations to you guys. 200 with 30 minutes left. Let's see if we can push that bad puppy potentially up to 250 likes today. That'd be fantastic. Even with the glitch, man. Thank you so much, guys. All good. I love this line. I love this line by Jalen Hurts. It's the line of camp so far. It's the line of camp. Talent will only take you so far. Teams take you to championships. That is so good. That is so good. And he seems to have a fire lit under him. Look, you guys know my opinion on his style of play. You know my opinion on him as a quarterback. But I do think that he took last year personal. And hey, look, actions will speak louder. Actions are going to speak louder than anything I'm saying right now. But he just seems a little bit more focused. And you know what else you're hearing too? You're also hearing teammates go, he's rolling around practice. He's going to position and talking to receivers, the tight end grouping. He's also going to the running back group. He's doing all this, and he's being more vocal. That's one of the things that they're noticing more with Jalen Hurts is that he's being more vocal so far early on in training camp. And you know what? Hey, get this. ESP saying that he looks surgical. Okay, good. That means he must have really did a lot of homework during the summertime from that break, from those OTAs and minicamp. And they must have overloaded him when it came to intel, and he's processed it. It's a great dude. I think the Eagles are in a training camp position right now. Look, the true test is going to be when shit goes sideways. Things were going great, 10-2. Everything was great, 10-1, or whatever the thing was. Everybody was feeling good about themselves. Okay, they were. The key is going to be, how does this thing react? And hey, Yale, think of this. Here's the number one issue that the Philadelphia Eagles, you will find out about. Will they have answers this time if things go south? And if it does, Sirianni's going to get credit for that. He's going to get credit for that. And you have to give it to him. Because he got out of the way. He did what he was told by the organization. He let the coaches coach. He let them teach. And he sat back and he jumped into that CEO role. You know how many times when a person or a coach is put into a different environment, that never works? Can Nick save his job? Time will tell. One loss will tell. Okay? It will. But I like the attitude. I'm sure you'll hear more of that from John. It just, talking to some of the people that are out there, it seemed to be a great energy. And they want to get back to work. Hey, could it have been they were out of gas with the Super Bowl hangover? They just ran out of gas. Could happen. They just ran out of gas. Now you get rejuvenated. Plus, you got doubters saying, like me, there's not a chance you're going to win 7 ball games. See, to me, attitude can overcome losses. Your attitude can save you. It can, because if you keep having positive mental attitude, PMA, I call it, positive mental attitude. If you have PMA, you're going to be able to overcome that if you keep positive. Tony Dungy taught me this. I told you the story before. They were 0-8. Yale. Buccaneers were 0-8 under Tony Dungy. It was like his first year as the head coach. They were 0-8. Same old Buck, same old bullshit. John Lynch goes like this. You think this guy knows what he's doing? Shit. Guys had their heads down. Dungy walks in the room, lights up the room, looks around, and he asked John Lynch, what's wrong? He goes, damn, coach, we're 0-8. And they wanted to win so bad for him. Tony Dungy looked at John Lynch and said, you're missing it. You guys look at you as 0-8. I look at you being right here, turning this thing around. You're right here. That's big picture. That's what made Dungy a great coach. He didn't see 0-8. That wasn't the war. That was some of the battle he had to get through. He's looking at the war. He goes, you guys look at 0-8? I think you're right here to turning this bad puppy around. Then they became Super Bowl contenders. That's how you do it. Keep the faith, man. Same thing with Jimmy. You're 1-15. Can you imagine Coach Johnson, 1-15? Players are looking at you, and they're going, this guy's a college guy. He has no idea what he's doing. There's no chance in hell he knows. He'll never win. Dude, if you were around that 1-15 Dallas Cowboy team, my Miami Hurricane teams were more talented. And Jimmy has so said that. Those teams were so not talented. Landry had run out of steam. They were, get this, and that same old line that I tell you was there. But they were out of gas on the coaching staff. They were just completely out of gas. That's right, Dexter. The O-line is the same guys except for 2 dudes that would go on to be the best O-line in the last 35 years. But they lost their mojo. Coach Landry had lost it. And I love Coach Landry. Tom Landry is one of the greatest men I've ever been around. Called me up when he was going to sign me. You know, because of Robustelli. Andy called him. Played with him in New York, obviously. Lombardi was on. Can you imagine that? My uncle was on a football team that had Tom Landry as the D coordinator, and Vince Lombardi was the O coordinator. Hey, imagine that. Vince Lombardi was the offensive coordinator, and Tom was the D coordinator. 2 Hall of Fame head football coaches were the offensive and defensive coordinators in New York when Robustelli was playing there. And he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, where are you thinking of signing?" He goes, "Well, I think San Francisco, or I think San Francisco I'm going to sign, or potentially Pittsburgh." And he's like, "Well, why don't you come here to Dallas? Come play with me. I'm moving the defense. I'm changing it. We're not going to do the flex defense any longer. We're going to go to a 34 because it reminds me a little bit of the flex. That's why they drafted Danny Noonan out of Nebraska." I said, "Coach, I don't know. Are you going to play a 34? He goes, "Yeah. I'm more of a 3 technique." He goes, "Yeah, but we're going to slide you over to 3s and such." And I was like, "All right." And here's 50 grand. For 50 grand, I was like, this was 87 and I had been cut. And so he goes, "Here's 55 grand. And I was like, all right. So they gave me $55,000 to sign with the Cowboys. And if I had something like 450 grand that I had signed with the not that much, 350. I had signed with the Bucks was my signing bonus. So inside of 2 years, I got 400 grand. That's back in 1987. That was a lot of money. Obviously today it's that's hamburger money compared to what these guys make today. But I made a lot of money, man. And so coach brought me in, and then they ended up firing him and changed the whole landscape. I mean, then they brought Jimmy in, and then I got hurt there and all that. But still, Coach Landry was just a great guy. Called me up, brought me in, goes, "Hey, usually we wait until after the first of the year to bring guys in. Why don't you come in now?" So I was on Coach Landry's final season. I wasn't active, but the last 4 games, 1987, I was there for the Cowboys, and I was on the sidelines. So it was pretty cool. So I got a chance to actually, practice and be part of that thing for Coach Landry's final 4 games as an NFL head coach, which was pretty cool. So I could actually say I played for Coach Landry too. Landry and Jimmy. These 2 guys were fantastic guys. 2 completely different guys, though. Just 2 completely different dudes. Yeah, no. Hey, I think there's some great things going on. Let me reset here a little bit on some of the stuff that I heard today. And again, Xander and I completely heard the Vic Fangio comments differently. I'm more looking at it as a player here. And I'm looking at it as when I look at Bryce Huff. And I get what Xander's saying. Motivating? Okay, sure. I don't need to be motivated by a coach, though. I'm making $17 million. That motivates me. 17 million reasons motivate me. So when you start talking to me like a high school coach and telling me, "Hey, that's what you need to hear. Hey, guy, I'm making $17 million. I'm a professional. I get paid for a living. You think I need a guy telling me? Take that as a challenge? Shit. My paycheck speaks to that every Tuesday. The different mentality when you get paid. Players don't look at that like shit like that. Now, what they look at that as, that's what Vic thinks of him right now. And will he take the challenge of wanting to show people that he can be better? Yeah, I would think so, because you know what that means? Let me show you something here. If Bryce Huff proves that he can play first and second down, he'll make $25 million. He'll make between 25 and 30 million. If he could take that challenge on and he can be what Vic said he's not. Here, Bryce Huff, never been in a position to play first and second down. He's not a 3-down player. Vic Fangio doesn't look at Bryce Huff as a 3-down guy right now. Says this, has the talent. We think he has the talent, though. He's a work in progress. If you're asking me now, obviously he can't play the run. Okay. Well, as of July 25th, you're a specialty player in Nick Fangio's eyes, which means this. You get brought in on third down, albeit the money down. Albeit. But that guy starting is a liability on your defense until proven otherwise. And to Xander's point, well, he's going to get the opportunity to prove it. God forbid he can't become the player that he's never been. They want him to be something he's never been. The Eagles are counting on that being this. They've been right, and I'll show you where they've been right. Gardner Johnson was a cornerback on the roster of the Saints, right? They dropped Gardner Johnson in the slot, led the NFL in interceptions. That's what Howie's looking at. Yale. Howie didn't trade for Reddick. Okay, he was a free agent that walked out of Carolina's building. He was an unrestricted free agent. He wasn't. They didn't trade for him for Carolina. Carolina let him walk out the building. The Eagles traded Hassan Reddick to the Jets. That's the only time he's been traded. Okay. Arizona let him walk out the building also. Okay. All right. I got it. Okay. Here's DFW. Wake me up when Jalen adjusts to blueprints. The blueprint the 49ers put out on him last year. Hurts is about to get wentzed. That's a narrative. You mean like them apparently thinking Mitchell has the talent to play two positions he didn't play in college? Sure. Sure. Okay, Slager. Playing people at their not natural positions, that's a gamble. Why didn't you just draft a guy that played the position? Why didn't you lessen the chance of risk? When you're drafting people, you're trying to diminish the chance of a miss. You don't draft a wide receiver out of TCU. Why? Because they don't play defense in the Big 12. It's not that the guys aren't good. They're wide open in the Big 12. Nobody plays defense. That's why people throw for 700 yards in that conference. I'm not drafting very many people that are wide receivers out of that conference. Only teams that I would draft out of that conference back in the day would be OU or Texas. Maybe K-State. Oklahoma State, maybe. I mean, okay, I'm not drafting wide receivers out of TCU. I'm taking them out of Bama, Clemson, LSU, Ohio State, maybe USC. Maybe. Okay. DRC, since we're in the bold prediction business, Devon White will have a snapback year. So when you hear Vic saying this about Bradberry, he doesn't believe Bradberry can play safety. So he doesn't believe today Bradberry can play safety. Is he challenging him? He's still on the roster. If you're still on the roster, you have a chance to change the narrative. So a little bit to Xander's point that he had earlier. Well, Sills, if they really thought that about him, would he be on the roster still? Making that kind of money? Shit, you can whack him and save money. Think about that. If the Eagles were to if the Eagles were to cut James Bradberry right now, you know how much money they would save? $8 million. Why wouldn't they cut him? Why is he still on the team? They must think something. And it's not trade. There's no trade. Nobody's trading for that. Vic came out and said he can't play safety. And they're going to take his word by far over anything Howie Roseman says. Okay? By far. So, why is he on the team? That's got to be a Vic Fangio call. Hey, you can't play safety. I'm going to give him a shot. He's going to play corner, too. I think Vic thinks he's going to have a bounce-back year. That's why I think he thinks he's on the team. Seals, did you see the motion in practice yesterday? Do you think Kellen Moore blends 2022 with the new offense? I think so. I think I saw a little bit more of that, too, with the read option plays that they were running with Barkley. I saw a little bit of that, little read option with Barkley. I saw the checkdowns with Saquon as well. I saw the motion. I think what they're trying to do is a mix. I think Jalen Hurts' problems that he had in camp, OTAs and minicamp, I do think now they were terminology problems. I don't think they were schematically. I think they were seeing something different. All three guys were seeing something different, and I think they're all on the same page now. They must have changed the terminology chart. You see, there's a terminology chart that you get inside your playbook. It's at the beginning of your playbook. When you see a Brown set in San Francisco versus a Brown set in Dallas, one could be completely different. A Brown set could be a strong side set on the right hash, or it could be a weak side set in the middle of the field. It all depends on where you are. Again, it's like learning a different language. So when Jalen gets the terminology sheet and he opens up his playbook and he sees a wide angle tackle 6 flip toss, and he sees this and he's looking at it. Okay, well, now I know what we're trying to do here. He gets into the practice and he does completely something, one little thing different. Maybe it's setting of the O-line different. Maybe he doesn't set the proper blocking scheme for it. And then Kellen will come to him and go, no, we didn't have the proper right blocking scheme. You set the protection wrong. Well, it's written down here like the last 2 years. That to me means that we were going to have fan blocking, or we were going to have zone blocking, or man here on that play. That's what we did the last 2 years. We kind of changed it up the last 2 years. That's the kind of integral things that you're talking about with your coordinator. So you go back with your coordinator and you go, we fan block here? Why are we fan blocking? Well, because we're trying to change strength, and we're going to slide protect. And we're hoping to get the defense to slide with us, and we're going to come back play side. Okay. All of that you're going over with your coordinator, so that when you get into the game, you're looking at it and you're going like this: wide beam 6, fan block, 38, flip toss. And you're looking at it because you're going to do a read option, and Jalen's got the read option in your fan blocking. You're going to do an influence block one way, come back. How many times did they have that red last year? Remember in 22? Think about what they did in 22. How many times did they go and they did influence block one way, and Jalen would go back the other way, and that was wide open? Last year, it wasn't wide open. They were waiting on him. They had picked that up. They didn't evolve that part of the run game. And it kind of ended up being a detriment because they became predictable. And that's why the 49ers ended up being a team that started picking up little of the influences that they were doing and tips they were doing. That's why they became predictable. 49ers and Nick Bosa were calling plays sitting there on the Manning broadcast. Bradberry's a great person. After that shit call in the Super Bowl, he said it was a foul, but he didn't think they'd call it. He didn't whine. Slager, I like James Bradberry. I do. I like him a lot. I hope he gets a chance. Sills, does Becton have a shot at right guard? I'm worried about that old line. He shouldn't be. Now, look, I'll tell you this, John. I think that they were overhyped and overrated last year, pass protecting. You could blame it all you want on Jalen Hurts not reading blitzes. Quarterback got hit a lot. Okay? Well, if the quarterback's going to hold on to the ball longer, your so-called big-priced guys have to block longer. I don't want to hear excuses for that O-line. You blame the quarterback. Block longer. You're making $25 million apiece. You're the most expensive O-line in football. I don't want to fucking hear anything. Block. Or I'll get other people in there cheaper to get the same result. I'm not paying Lane Johnson $25 million to have my quarterback hit. I don't care what his name is. Same with Malata. Same with Landon Dickerson. You make all this money, $20 million a year, and you're getting a quarterback hit? Well, he held on to the ball and he wasn't seeing the blitzing. Okay, well, do more of your job. You make that kind of money. Jason Kelce was in there too, making $15 million, and they couldn't get it done. Okay, quarterback takes the brunt of it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but you got to do your job too. Well, we did our job. It wasn't good enough. Last year, you had $15 million, $25 million, $25 million, $20 million, and like I said, the $15 million guard or $50 million center. How much more money do you want to spend in your old line to get your quarterback killed? It's on them too. It's on Jeff Stoutland too. Quarterback got hit. You got two dudes on your coaching staff now that don't take any shit. Wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. Okay? Kelsey's body was going through it. He was always in pain if you saw his documentary. Lord, when you play that kind of years and you play the center position, I'm shocked the guy's not more injured. I'm shocked he played as many years as he played. I'm shocked he didn't miss as many games as I thought he would miss. That's a tough-ass position to play, the center position. Absolutely insane. Ed says, stat line prediction. Barkley, 1350, 12 touchdowns. That's insane. Never happened. Okay? Never happened. Sills, I love your Al Bundy Polk High stories. Oh, yeah, the famous high school stories. The only thing, Akbar, mine don't stop there at Passaic High. My stories don't stop at Passaic High. They stop in Gainesville or Lambeau Field. That's where my stories stop, not at Polk High. Hey, I was really good in high school. If it wasn't for me getting my knee hurt, I would have not just only made 7th team all city, but what I would have did was I would have been 3rd team or 4th team all city. I love that guy. Sitting at a bar. Hey, you should have seen me in high school. I was incredible. I gained 250 yards. Wow. In a game? No, that was my career, and I got hurt. Yeah. Freshman year. JV ball. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Coach said I was on my way. On your way to what? Oh, being a great. Where? Yeah, Woodrow Wilson High. Oh. We guys, well, we're Class A, but I love it. Yes, hey, yes, Sills. But did you go on tour playing the pastrami sandwich? I like pastrami sandwiches, man. With a little mustard, I'm ready to rock. Skip Bayless played sports? Come on, man. Oh, LeBron sucks. Trent Williams not showing up. I'm not concerned with that. Hey, thank you very much, King fan. That's really cool, especially after today. We had a rough one a little bit at the audio from StreamYard. Nothing that JAKIB or us on our side did. Okay? Skip Baseless. I hadn't thought of that before. Hey, man, no, look. I like Vic Fangio. I'm a big fan, man. I am. I'll tell you what I was very disappointed in, though, today. I was disappointed in my guy, Xander, not liking my predictions. The Washington Commanders winning the NFC East. Even Jason Cole gave me shit about that one. That's all right. I'll be proven right. I'll be proven right. They're not very good. What makes you think your defense is good? Oh, look at Xander. I owned you today. Damn. Look at that. Grasshopper coming after Sunsea. The grasshopper. Look at him, man. Damn. Unbelievable. This is my show now. Oh, man. Look what happens. You see? Look what's here. Look, see what's happened here. Xander's now a big star. Big Sills is just, I'm a humble man. Sills got effed up. Yeah, we'll see what happens when those predictions all come true. And you all guys come rolling back going, I can't believe that you're wide awake. You're white again. I can't believe you're white. You're right. Everything you said, everything I said about your team last year, Xander is Sills' dad now. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, it's good to be a hero on July 25th. Xander's taking them bows like everybody else over at NovaCare. 2-day champion. Everybody got their green glasses on now. Everyone's talking about how the coordinators are super. Jalen Hurts is surgical. He's surgical. Got them colored glasses on. You got them Bill Colarulo glasses on where you can't see in front of you. The only thing you can see is, well, I think they're going to win 14 games. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think we're going to have another parade. Jalen Hurts is going to be the MVP. Yep. Hey, DFW. I think Eagle fans, they're kind of taking over a little bit here. Big Bill. Tyson Sanders, is it coming? Oh, by the way, I got a little note here for you. I got a note here for you. The Philadelphia Eagles have an interest in trading for Allen Lazard of the Jets. Would you be interested in that? Big Z and Little Sills. 120 likes. Plus the 111 today. Good grief, 231. We're almost there at 250. Come on there, fellas. Would you guys be interested in Allen Lazard as number 3 wide receiver on your football team? Little Z, Big Sills. There you go, Andrew. You know what's up. You know who's going to be right in the end. It's going to be Big Sills. Okay? Here. You watch Rodgers win the MVP. Get this. Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs. He's 18 months off of winning one. And this guy's washed. Played 4 minutes last year because he got injured. And you think that guy's going to suck. Okay. Sure. I'll bet you this. Aaron Rodgers has a better year than Jalen Hurts does. You want to bet that? How many people want that bet? That he'll have a better season and throw for more touchdowns and more yards. And more wins than Hurts. Want to bet on it? I think he's 40. Brady at 40 won a Super Bowl. How many Rodgers won't finish the season? Hurts will have a better year Hey, how about this? Jalen Hurts has never had a better year than Josh Allen. Yeah, but he went to the Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah. He was wonderful in the playoff games. It was terrible. Super Bowl, he was great. Yes, sir. I'll bet you Rodgers throws for 4,500 yards. They win 12 football games, and they potentially can win the AFC East. How you doing? Look at this guy. Hurts beat Josh Allen. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor beat Hurts. And so did Drew Lock. Oh, right in the keister. How you doing? Drew Lock and Tyrod Taylor beat you. Congratulations. So did Kyler Murray, matter of fact. Rodgers got to play the 49ers first game. That's crazy itself. That ankle is going to get tested early. I'll tell you what, Andrew, if I were the 49ers, I better get that guy on the ground. Because if that guy sits back there, he'll pick them apart. Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate passer in the history of the league. You don't have to worry about him throwing quails or ducks or grounders to receivers. That guy is the most that's surgical. You want to know what surgical is? I'll show you what surgical is. Hey, ESP, you want to know what surgical is? Let me point out to you what surgical is. Okay? Aaron Rodgers stats. I'll show you surgical. This is surgical. Hey, ESP, I know you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, so let me hook you up here. This guy's got 475 touchdown passes and only 100 interceptions. That's 4-1 almost. Okay? Here's surgical, dude. 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. 45 touchdowns, 5 picks. 39 touchdowns, 6 picks. 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. 40 touchdowns, 3 picks. This is for a season. 48 touchdowns, 5 picks. 37 touchdowns, 4 picks. That's surgical. Okay? 48 touchdowns and 5 picks. So get this. In a span of 3 years, 3 of his last 4 years, he threw 13 interceptions and threw 118 touchdowns and 13 picks. That's surgical. That's surgical. That's what a quarterback looks like that. And so when someone goes, hey, you're crazy. The guy's that he's not going to do. Oh, yeah, because he's what? He's never done it? Look at Xander, man. He's got his brand new favorite now, whoopee. Jalen LFG Hurts. That's his boy. Charlie. Those are unreal. Unreal. That's what a superstar quarterback looks like. Where's the trophy? He's got one, kid. There's nothing in that business that Aaron Rodgers hasn't accomplished. He'll have a title ring. He'll have a Hall of Fame ring. He'll go down as a first ballot. Could go unanimous. Oh, that probably won't because there'll be dickheads hold his politics against him like they do Kurt Schilling. What you doing? And look at this guy. DRC goes, he only got one, and you got none with your guy. Hey, before you start talking about your guy, how about win one? Try to win one. I like how you throw shade on people that have it, actually. He won that thing 14 years ago. Oh, so he's got longevity in the league, too, and he's done it all them years? Yeah, I'm sure he'll suck this year because Aaron Rodgers sucks. I guarantee you, man. I know Rodgers will have a better year now. That's a whack prediction. Is it? Hey, Niner. Now I think things are going to be okay. I think they're getting out to a nice start here. Let me take a time out here. Man, Xander shitting all over my 2024 bold predictions. The only one he really didn't like was the Commanders winning East. All right. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills, by the way, you killed it today in likes. That other show right now is up to 128 likes, and right now we're at like 120. You guys pretty much hit the 250 mark. Congratulations to you today. So thank you. I mean, we split the show up, and we were kind of concerned that the likes wouldn't be there, and there they were, man. You guys followed us over, and we can't thank you enough. We apologize. StreamYard had some audio issues earlier today, but you guys were fantastic. So thank you so much. Just shows you, 260, Mike, between both shows. Way to go, guys. You know, can't thank you enough. Awesome. By the way, I got to read this to you before we get the hell out of here. Stay tuned for Xander and John McMullen. Here's Devon White today at the presser talking about Vic Fangio. He'll call you right out, man. Tell you you weren't good enough. That was piss poor. He'll do it one-on-one and in front of everybody in film. He'll correct anybody to everyone. Jalen Carter caught one yesterday for not doing something right. He goes, he caught one. That's good shit, dude. He caught one. All right, I got to get out of here because John's going to have new content out there. Obviously, he was out there at the NovaCare Center, so please make sure you stay tuned. All good. Xander Krause and John McMullen. Thank you, Krause. Xander, awesome, fixing up the problem. We will see you tomorrow, 2 to 6. Catch you on the flip side.